City. You're listening to CCFM 7.5. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. The Big Positive Guy on CCFM 107.5.
Music from Jordan Felix, The King is Alive, Danny Goki in there as well with Sound of Heaven, and some Carlton Dixon with Can't Quit You. It's 16 minutes after 4 o'clock, the second hour of the program. And of course, a happy Monday to you. I always say this, there are no blue Mondays on CCFM. I really trust and hope that your week has started off on a good note. And I always say this, if no one has told you, I'm telling you this afternoon that you are beautiful, that you are loved, that you are capable, and that you are more than enough. Of course, every Mondays we have Andre the Big Positive Guy as well as Tina Be Alive. And today I'm especially excited because not only have we not seen each other for a while, but also it's a special day. And so super excited to get into the conversation. Hi, guys. Hello, gorgeous people.
I was wondering if I was going to get a gorgeous today.
Always.
So nice to see you without Romeo here. Now we actually know who's doing all the work.
Now you can
Because
see
you're pushing the
him.
buttons and playing it like a piano. You're amazing.
I do miss him though. Tremendously.
Yeah, just miss that beard.
Mr. Andre, good to see you. Are you good?
Thank you very much. Apologies for not being here last week. I wasn't feeling so good.
Yeah.
But I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm
Something's
alive.
different. I don't know what it is, but you look different. You look
I look different, eh?
10 years younger.
I am 10 years
You
younger.
dye your hair.
Oh, no, don't say that. I washed away the grey.
Oh man,
What
that's
grey?
what grey, exactly. That's of course the voice of Andre, the Big Positive Guy, and then gorgeous Tina Be Alive. How are you doing?
I am so happy to be back and so
to have
happy
you.
to just be well.
Happy to have you. I'm really so excited to see you both and that you're both well. I know everybody, I mean, most of the family, even on WhatsApp, were just suffering with cold, whatever it was. It's been horrible. But we are
Yeah.
healed and we are here.
Exactly. I had a 20-day course of antibiotic. It was
Same.
like crazy.
No, same.
Yeah.
And then also the home remedies, the ginger. I'm so tired of ginger. I don't want to see ginger again.
Ginger and turmeric and cinnamon on the oats every morning.
Listen. And
Yeah.
then chewing the onion like live. I had to do that. I had to chew onion
Yeah.
because they said it would help. Needless to say.
You back as well and better.
Guys, I'm excited. I know that today is incredibly special, but we also have another guest. I don't know if she's going to speak yet, but yeah, Tina's got a beautiful mother with us in the studio.
Yeah.
And we are live on Facebook as well as YouTube. So please hop on over to our social media pages. Now, as the longest living survivor in Africa to have had a heart and bilateral lung transplant, Tina Be Alive is going to honor her donor today, Cardelise Lombard. But also, I think just before we get into that, maybe just for context, Tina, share with our listeners just your story, your testimony in particular.
I am very, very blessed and very, very lucky that God, in connection with a whole lot of very intelligent medical people, a wonderful support system, and a family that decided to donate. That's the reason I'm alive. My transplant anniversary is tomorrow. It's 13 years. And it's just, I am super, super blessed to even just be here.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed with it at under 6 months. I was sick my whole life. And I landed up getting my transplant at 30 years old.
Sure.
There's very few of us.
Absolutely. And we're going to touch on that in a bit. But I especially want to talk about the emotions that come with this day. I know that it's also a big one for you because your donor pulled the plugs today. But it's bittersweet for you because it meant life for you.
Yes. So
Yeah.
today, eventually at about 5 o'clock, was a hugely exciting time for me 13 years ago. But then 8 years after my transplant, I met my donor family, and which they don't actually encourage in this country. It's a gift. Yeah, it's an anonymous gift. So when I met my donor family, I think I cried just about nearly all day. And they are the most humble, amazing human beings. And their daughter, who was 17 years old, I saw a picture of her. I started to learn about who she was as a person. She was at boarding school in Bloemfontein. She had grown up on a farm. She had dreams of becoming a teacher, a school teacher. And she was just so full of life. And she had this very unruly but beautiful curly hair. And she was just so vivacious and full of life and always happy and just one of the kindest souls. Because at 17 years old, she decided and told her parents that when she passes away eventually, she wanted to donate her organs.
Sure.
And I mean, if I was 17, I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking of boys and clothes and cell phones and yeah. But yeah, very, very deep, very just an incredible human being that the world lost.
Sure. And here you are.
And here I am.
To share the story.
Absolutely.
Tina, I thank you. Now I know that your story, it's something that you share when you get the opportunity. And listeners, if you do want to reach out maybe for further information and just sort of understanding Tina's journey, then we will leave her contact details towards the end of the conversation. But I want to talk about statistics, just in terms of the numbers when it comes to donors. How many people within South Africa, just an estimate, are generally waiting or in line for a transplant?
So at any one time, the waiting list for a solid organ transplant is 4,500. And that obviously changes, sort of on a monthly basis or whatever. But yeah, it's basically 4,500 people on the waiting list for either heart, lungs, double lungs, kidney, liver. Yeah, and then plus that's not taking into account the people that need tissue donations. So cornea, bone, skin, valves.
Yeah. Sure. I think that there's a lot to understand and read about, but I think when you do the research and you read, you understand, I guess, the complexities, for lack of a better word, of all of this. And so I encourage you to send through a message on 0617981075. Perhaps you share a similar story to Tina Be Alive as you're listening right now. We're just talking about, again, the significance of this day for her in particular, and also later on just debunking some of the myths about organ donation. Let's talk about the process of, for one to become a donor. What does that look like?
So there's a link on my website that says become an organ donor. And I've written a little bit about what organ donation means to me.
Right.
Essentially, it means life for me. I wouldn't be here otherwise. And then there's a link that clicks through for you to sign up and register on the South African donors page. But the most important thing is to tell your next of kin, so your family or your spouse, or the person that is going to speak for you when you are unable to. That person needs to know, because in those final hours, that is the person that is legally signing the documents to let you become a donor.
We're going to get to the myths in a bit, but I want to talk about why we even have these myths or stigmas or misunderstandings. I think particularly when it comes to organ donors and such. Why is that? Are people just tiptoeing around the conversation? What do we attest that to?
I think it just doesn't affect people as often. Because like I said, we're a population of over 64 million people in this country.
Yeah.
And 0.2% are donors, which equates to roughly 128,000.
Yeah, sure.
Out of 64 million. but that's not even a city.
Sure.
So yeah, and I think it just doesn't happen.
Mm.
We just don't speak about it. It's not taught in schools.
Yeah.
It's not really taught in medical schools. I think in the current sort of medical syllabus, and doctors have told me this, so I'm quoting them. I don't have actual figures, but
Yeah.
they have said it's about organ donation in their curriculum is about 15 minutes.
Mm.
And that's not enough.
Sheesh.
It really is not enough. So if your doctors and your team don't know about it, and there's not a transplant coordinator in your hospital or your unit, so many organs go to waste.
Sheesh.
And when they could be saving lives, I mean, you could save 27 lives with a solid organ transplant,
Right.
and up to 22 lives with your tissue as well.
Sure. I have a question from Delisha. She says, "Hey Tina,
Hi.
for what reason would a doctor say that you're not a candidate to receive an organ donation?"
I'm not a doctor, so I cannot answer the question. I don't know what the criteria are, but my advice is always sign up,
Yeah.
and then let the doctors decide. Because especially for me, the heart and lungs and any organ really cannot be bruised. The lungs cannot have any mucus or spit up in them. They will not transplant an organ that is less than perfect.
But maybe if I can come into that, I try to become an organ donor, and because one of the things that they need enormously is skin.
Yeah.
Skin for burn victims, for little children and stuff like that. And I thought, well, I've got a lot of that. A nice, beautiful pink skin. They can cover a couple of babies in this.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't accept me because I'd had a malignant melanoma.
Ah.
So there are some criteria that they do.
Yeah.
But the one story that I love dearly, and I'm sure Tina can say it, is when they opened it up and took out her existing heart and lungs, which from all accounts were not very good shape. Maybe you can tell us what they did with those
they
organs.
They couldn't do anything with the lungs. The lungs were well and truly finished.
Yeah.
But my heart, as messed up and as broken as it was, they still managed to salvage 2 valves from my heart, and the one of which went into a baby in a different province to me.
Wow.
So even in my sort of dying, I was helping someone else live.
Sure. I've got a message from Yvonne, and she says, "Good afternoon, Natasha. My daughter passed away at the age of 17, and I donated her organs."
Thank you so much on behalf of me and all the people that received your daughter's organs and tissue. You are a lifesaver. You are a hero. Your daughter is a hero. I wish I knew her name, because I believe her name needs to be shouted from mountaintops. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yvonne. Definitely emotional as well on my side. I think, like you say, not enough of these conversations are had. I think I suppose it's, I almost want to say it's considered taboo.
Yeah, it's like I said, unless it happens to you and your family, you don't know about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
061 798 1075. Very, very special conversation today with Tina Be Alive. And of course, we're talking about all things organ donation. And listen, it's okay not to know. That's why the information is there, to do the research, to talk to people who have gone through the process and even sort of had the discussion as well. I think it's important to, when you know better, you do better, essentially. Just in terms of now debunking some of the myths around organ donations, what do those look like? What are some that you know of and can address?
So there's always money. And that's the one I'm going to answer first.
Yeah.
So it doesn't cost you anything to become a donor, but you don't get anything in return.
Right.
It's illegal to deal in organs. So you cannot get paid for donating.
Okay.
But there are also no costs for you to donate and for the harvesting of organs and things like that.
Ah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have to pay for the funeral after that, or do they?
The funeral is your cost. So as sort of every day. But then the next thing is, will your loved one be disfigured, and will it delay the funeral? So the answer is no, it won't delay the funeral. And it won't disfigure the body, because whatever they take out, they will put stuff back in,
Right.
so that your chest is not concave and your legs are still your legs and things like that if you've donated bone.
Mm-hmm.
So you will still look like you.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right. That is just some myths around organ donation. Again, please feel free to drop a message 0617981075. And if you're going to send a voice note, please just give me a heads up that it is in relation to the conversation at hand, so that I can clear your voice note. Just before we go and sort of say goodbye, what would you say to someone who's maybe on the fence and still maybe, for lack of a better word, not convinced, just about organ donation and sort of the process?
You know, especially, and this is going back to one of the myths, is people are terrified that they're going to be buried alive. Or the doctors are going to prey on them because they've got good organs and want you to donate while you're still very much alive and there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
You have to be declared brainstem dead by 2 separate doctors that have nothing to do with your case. So just as far as that, we don't steal people's organs. It's just not done. But further to that, you can save a life. In fact, you can save 22 lives. You can leave a legacy for your loved one. Your loved one can be a hero in the lives of 22 other people.
Sure.
And the part that I love the most, and I wrote something on social media this morning, is there's another legacy. Despite the huge sacrifice that Carlise and her parents made,
Yeah.
the legacy is Tina. And everything that she does. And this year, she's had a spectacular year. She's been in magazines and magazine covers and changed people's lives and spoken all over the place and taught people and done things that otherwise would never have happened. She'd just be another statistic.
Yeah.
And I just think, wow, what a legacy. I mean, just to leave and say, and I actually love the idea that they know each other.
Absolutely.
Just so that they can see that Tina has respected that gift and gone and done something with it. You know, change something in her life, and I'd love that. So I think, yeah, if we can encourage you to do anything like that, to go into the organ donation list, as I said, it takes no effort. You can go to the link and just sort of sign up. And as Tina says, but make sure that the people know. Remember, we're not going to kill you to get the organs. You may or may not die. You know, but if something should happen, heaven forbid, is that your body can be used. Because it's, at the end of the day, it's just a body.
I've got a voice note. This one is from Roxy. Hey, Roxy.
Tell this story, and yeah, you are really a person to be admired, because a lot of people, it's easy to just give up and just say, my life is not working, I am sick forever, and what if this organ doesn't work in my body? So you've taken it on and it is working on you. So I praise God and I thank God for having you come on radio and just sharing your story of bravery. And you know, some people will not take that because of religious reasons. I cannot live with another person's organ. And I really appreciate you and thank you so much for sharing yourself.
Thanks so much, Rox, for that. That was, of course, Rox and Marosa. Very, very interesting conversation indeed. And I think, again, as she's mentioned, you know, people sometimes don't do this because of, I guess, you know, religious reasons or preferences. And maybe sometimes you don't know enough about a conversation or a topic.
Yeah.
And so I always encourage people just to read, talk to someone,
And
have the conversation.
If you are unsure spiritually, most religions actually advocate for organ donation because it's giving, it's gifting, it's creating life. But if you're unsure, rather speak to your pastor or your leader or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
So that you can find out definitively.
Love that.
And if you'd like Tina to come speak to your church,
yes,
or to your groups,
that was my next
punching you know.
that was my next
Yeah.
sort of go-to. Tina, I mean, I know your story, but for someone who maybe isn't familiar with your story and someone who wants to have you come and talk at a church or the organization, where can they find you?
They can find me at info@tinabealive.com.
Fantastic. Mr. Andre, the big positive guy.
Today is all Tina. It's all Tina's day today. It's a special day.
It is. You are so brave, Tina. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much for listening.
Yeah.
And thank you, Natasha, for having me.
Very bittersweet.
It's yeah, absolutely. But maybe I can just finish off. Mum and I were at Eitzach today, and we were walking in those beautiful rose gardens, and all of a sudden I noticed a butterfly. And a butterfly is a symbol for lungs, double lung. And I believe that it was Collie's. She always shows herself to me on an important day as a butterfly, and she was there in the garden. It was just beautiful.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Mom. Mom didn't chat today, but Mom will join next time. There you have it. Of course, that was Andre's Big Positive Guy and Tina Be Alive. If you want to re-listen to this, it is live on Facebook as well as YouTube, simply under CCFM 107.5. Again, if you don't know, always ask the questions, do some reading. Everything is almost accessible these days on the internet. Chat to people that have gone through the process. There's no harm in asking and starting the dialogue. Very quickly, guys, so I know that we are nearing the voice. And so
Dun, dun, dun.
I know that we had said it will be for November. And so I just want to confirm with you guys live on air that it's still happening, firstly.
Yes, please.
Well, you're the organizer, so you tell us.
And then also, just very quickly, Andre, for anyone that maybe has just tuned in today, what that session will look like. So those that are coming, what they can expect. Very quickly.
All right, we're going to really embarrass you. We're going to make you stand in the front. Now, I think what we'd like to do is obviously the two of you have beautiful voices and you've made a career out of it. So have I, and so has Tina.
Yeah.
So we're maybe just going to do a little sharing between each one of us. I think each one of us is probably going to have about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
We've got a specialized voice artist who's maybe going to entertain you a little bit. He's terribly funny, but he has a magnificent voice. And I've also got that Olympic swimmer. Well, she's not Olympic. What do you call the thing? The other major games. The
Paralympic?
No. The one that the England's in charge. Anyway.
Commonwealth Games.
The Commonwealth Games. She's a Commonwealth Games swimmer, but she speaks about confidence. And I think that'll be fun. And then what we'll do is we'll just break it down into little opportunities for people to maybe, if they want to speak.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to speak, you don't have to do it. You can come and sit and listen. But if you want to participate, we're definitely going to take you through some exercises that I think will help you enormously. Tina's, for example, very, very good getting people to overcome their fear and teaches you a couple of techniques that all of us as speakers use. We use certain techniques to get over our fear. Kevin will help you to make sure that your voice sounds the best that it possibly can. I teach you little basic things like rhythm and depth and tone and all those kind of things. So I think there's going to be something for every single person. But as I always remind you, the voice that you have very often determines the life that you have.
Yeah.
And if you think that that's something that you can do and just up your game a little bit, then come along. It'll be fun.
Absolutely. And so I encourage you.
And you're going to bring cake for the big positive guy.
Yes, that's all you've got to bring.
Free for Tina.
That's all you've got to bring. It's free of charge. As I've mentioned, it's going to happen the beginning of November. Dates will be confirmed on the drive. If you've missed it, please send through your email address with the hashtag The Voice if you'd like to attend this workshop. As Andre has mentioned, it will be free of charge. Very beneficial if you are someone that wants to utilize your voice. Again, your email address, hashtag The Voice, to 061 798 1075. Guys, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Send that love to Romeo.
I will. Romeo, if you're listening.
Right, yeah, Rose, if you're listening, we miss you, chap.
There you have it. Again, have a look at Facebook and YouTube if you want the conversation that we've just had. Very important one indeed. And then, of course, you can replay it, repost it, and share it to your loved ones. Still to come, I've got a couple of ads, and then, of course, traffic.